Hello, this is S. Marie Young, and this is Conscious Leadership Conversations. Today I'm here with Fernando Suarez, a commodities manager for an aerospace company. And Fernando identifies with type 5 on the Enneagram. Welcome, Fernando.
Thanks, S. Marie. It's nice to be here.
Oh, so nice to have you here. And I start out every conversation asking, what do you like most about being a type 5 or identifying with the type 5?
Yeah, I guess from my understanding of the type five, you know, part of what I get is that I'm comfortable with the world of ideas. I always have been, and so um, I like a lot of different subjects. So um, you know, I think that's probably one thing that I'm comfortable reading about all kinds of different subjects and talking about them. And so that's probably the thing I like the most.
Yes, fives have this thirst for knowledge. And how has
Yeah,
that played out most in your life, would you say?
yeah. I think it's varied at different parts of my life. You know, when I was a younger man, I think you know, consumed a lot of information, read a lot of books and you get to a point in life, when you start to value experience more than knowledge. And so I think that's in terms of my maturation process or my growth process has been to um, not put so much credence on the just knowledge, quote unquote knowledge, but um, really what is my experience? What um, so being like kind of being versus knowing, right? It's important to have both, and so the being aspect has been um, something I've tried to develop more and more over the years.
Yes, and that is the growth edge for the five. Um, is that I'm so glad you brought that up. That's usually my last question is what's the growth edge? And here you've already started talking about it. Is that thirst for knowledge is a replacement of real experience and the depth of experience. It's kind of holding you up in a meta view of the world rather than being down in the trenches and participating.
Right.
So
And there's
say
there's a lot
more.
of yeah, there's a lot of different metaphors for that. I recall, being in graduate school and taking a leadership course, and one metaphor that the professor would talk about was, being on the balcony versus being on the dance floor.
Yes,
Right.
that's a good one.
And so you got to be able to do both,
Hmm.
be on the
Hmm.
balcony to observe, the forest from the trees, but then also being on the dance floor. And so that is a balance. You can't do too much of either, right? Otherwise, you don't, you miss out or you don't get the full picture or experience.
Absolutely. And what you were saying is a real gift of the five. The five is known as the observer, the one who can step back and see what's going on and observe
Right.
and draw conclusions from that when everybody else is in the fray. So there's
Right.
a real need for that and a real gift there. And when it's
Yeah.
taken too far, then you don't get to participate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And yeah, so it's I guess in line with your theme about being conscious and
Hmm.
so having that awareness of and consciously choosing, um, you know, making a choice to do either, deliberately.
Yes, and that's the conscious choice. The conscious leadership is being able to catch yourself when you're withdrawing and just observing and not participating in whatever
Right.
you're doing. How
Yeah.
lucky you were to have somebody in college point that out as a teaching, and you grasped it.
Yeah. I mean, I was, that was a while ago. You know, I grasp it as a concept, but again, it's uh, as you live your life, you really experience it, and that's where what matters. It's like it's not so much the concepts, but how you apply them to your everyday life, and you know,
And that's a lifelong
that's a
journey, isn't
lifelong.
it?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
What would you say would be one example where you have transformed and really gotten into the experience of life?
Yeah, let's see. Um, so, in the system of typology, right, or the Enneagram system, or even if you look at the Myers-Briggs system, there's the head types, and I'm obviously one of the head types, and uh, so one of the things that I realized as part of my growth is that I needed to uh, drop more into my body, and
Mm.
so and more into my body and more into my heart, and because we can experience life, you can't just experience it at a cognitive level. That's one way to do it, but then you're just
Mhm.
a head on a stick,
Right.
and
I like
you
that.
know
Head on a stick.
and you don't want to be a head on a stick, and we're so lucky to have this human experience, you know and to want to experience it fully, and that's not from the neck up, just from the neck up, right? It's you have so many other um, ways of experiencing life, and if you can integrate them and join them together, that's what makes life's rich. That's what makes life meaningful.
Yes, and that's what I love, Fernando, so much about the Enneagram is it's really so much beyond typology. It's a path to self-actualization, and it's integrating mind, body, and heart, which you referred to as the head type. If you're just a talking stick, you're not sensing and somatically being in life. And if you're shut off from your heart as well, you're not having that rich experience of the depth of feeling.
Right. I agree.
So thank you for bringing that up so beautifully.
Sure.
And that journey, I imagine, isn't, they say the journey from the head to the heart is the longest journey there is.
Yes. Yes. It is the longest, and it's probably um, uh, it's not the easiest. It's
No.
not the easiest because the one thing about like um, cognition, the and the sword of cognition. is like, because it kind of is like a sword, right? It can keep you from feeling, and it cut you off from feeling. And so the one of the things that I've learned over time, and this is not on my own, this is with the mentors and others that have modeled this for me, that um, going through the process of going from your head to your heart is, again, it's not easy because you're opening yourself up to the level of experience, right? And so, to the extent that you want to feel joy, you also need to be able to experience sadness and grief and all the rest of it.
Yeah, the whole
Um,
range of
the,
emotions.
the whole range. And and so that's not an easy process to do, and
No. And you've realized in your life that when you shut one off, when you shut the pain off or the sadness, then the joy gets cut off too.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Fernando, you've been, I know, on a path to self-development, self-awareness for many years. So I commend you. It's not an easy path to open your heart up and to be vulnerable.
Right. And the thing is also, it's like you uh the point about just opening your heart, it's not like you're gonna walk around with just this open heart everywhere. You still need to protect yourself, but that shouldn't be the main operating system, right? There's times and places, and again, it's just like uh, being able to experience life fully, with not just the head, but the rest of this incredible, you know, body that we've been given, this whole organism that we've been blessed to have, you know, right?
And what would you say your growth edge is these days?
My growth edge these days, I think my growth edge is, yeah, that's a good question. Um, I want to be able to be of service to the community in some way,
Mhm.
so outside of my my work life and my family life, but um, uh, in my spare time, to find the right avenue to to be of service, and so that's still, I have some ideas, but they're not super formed yet,
Mhm.
and I think you know the for the next phase of my life, and as I grow older, this I feel like people who are in retirement age, it makes me a little, it's a little sad to see people just like then go into their cocoons, the golfing or doing whatever hobby, and that's all great, but I feel like for a person who has lived that much life and had experiences, that's 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 ideally when they should be the most empowered,
Mhm.
and the most empowered and the most able to, hopefully contribute something back, you
Yes.
know.
And that's what conscious leadership is all about too, Fernando, is that once you become more conscious, then you want to give back. And that feeling of scarcity for the five opens up into this generosity. of being. And it's a beautiful thing to watch
Yeah.
and to receive.
Right. That's
Yeah.
so, wow, that's such a great point you made about the giving and receiving, giving and receiving, like
Yes.
allowing yourself to receive and then giving without expectation of
Mhm.
anything in return.
Well, this is
And
such a
yeah,
good example, too, that you're giving here, opening yourself up uh, in a way through this conversation that probably isn't very comfortable for you as a five.
right. I think, I'm so much more comfortable in a one-on-one setting with
Mhm.
people, and especially someone like you. I could probably talk to you for hours, Marie. But
And likewise,
uh,
Fernando.
yeah, I think it's just harder for me. It's with a large group. Say it's a large group that where I don't know anyone.
Mhm.
That's typical. Like I can do all that, but it's not my favorite. It's you know, if I have to do that, then I have to do that. But it's not like I love it.
Right, but you can get up for it.
Yeah, I can.
You can move to that 8 big energy if you need to.
Yeah, if I need to. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and also knowing like, okay, I could do this for, you know, 2 to 3 hours and then okay, I'm good.
Yes. This is only 15 minutes and you're good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Uh, well, Fernando, I appreciate you so much coming and having this conversation with me today and revealing, sharing so much about yourself and your process. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, yes, Marie. Yeah, it's my pleasure.
All right. Well, this is Conscious Leadership Conversations, speaking with Fernando Suarez about being or identifying with type 5.